Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I am Jules, and I have been on a GLP-1 journey for almost 4 years at this point. I've lost 50 pounds. I have been maintaining that now for over 3 years. And I want to talk to you about something today. I'm going to ask you a question. Is your job making you gain weight? Is your job making you stressed out? Is it keeping you exhausted, making you resentful, emotionally drained, and so desperate for a little bit of joy at the end of the day that you find yourself reaching for that cookie, dessert, wine, beer, or whatever you need or want to give you that temporary moment of relief? Because sometimes we are not eating because we're physically hungry. Sometimes we are eating to find a little bit of peace. We're searching for some comfort. We are searching for something that we look forward to. We are looking for a little bit of that dopamine hit after spending 8 or 10 or sometimes 12 hours in an environment that is slowly draining the lifeblood out of us. And I'm going to raise my hand because I have done this. I have lived it. I have sat there after a really hard day at work and said, I deserve some cookies. I deserve that dessert. I want a glass of wine. I need a glass of wine to wind down, to de-stress, to lower my anxiety, to not feel so wound up anymore. I need something to look forward to because today just sucked. But we do need to talk about the cost of doing this over and over again, because your job should not be allowed to take away from your mental health. It should not be allowed to take away from your physical health. And it should not take away your future. So today I want to talk about something that is just not discussed often enough in the weight loss space. We talk about calories, we talk about protein, GLP-1 medications, working out, walking, the training, the hydration, the sleep, and all of those things, the discipline, they all matter, of course. But sometimes we do need to take a step back and ask some deeper questions. What happens when our lives are making us so challenged, they become so difficult, that it makes it really hard to take care of ourselves? And then we are looking for an escape. We are looking to numb out. We are looking to soothe ourselves with something, and that something becomes food or alcohol. I am also in the process of creating a GLP-1 wellness community for people who want more support with weight loss, nutrition, maintenance, fitness, strength training, mindset, accountability, long-term, being able to stay healthy mentally and physically. We need this community, I think, now more than ever. So if this sounds like something that you would be interested in, either leave a comment, community, and I will send you the link, or you could fill out the interest link by clicking on it. It'll be pinned to the top comment. It'll also be in the description box. It's a short form. It just basically tells me that you're interested in joining, and when we launch, you will be the first to know about it. There is absolutely no obligation in simply filling it out. I'm just trying to gauge what you're interested in learning about, why you would want to be there, what type of support would be most helpful for you. And also, before we jump into everything, can I ask you a little favor? Please give this video a like. It helps the YouTube community. It helps to push it out more into the community. Certainly, if this resonates with you, I'd love for you to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. In fact, the vast majority of people that are paying attention, watching my videos, are not subscribed. So I would love to have you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button so you always know when a video is coming and you will never miss one. Okay, let's get into it. All right, sometimes food becomes the only thing that we have to look forward to. So let's start with some honesty. How many of you have had an absolutely miserable day at work and thought, I'm going to treat myself tonight. I deserve that cookie, the dessert, that, fill in the blank, that meal, the pizza, the takeout, because I don't want to deal with cooking. I want that glass of wine. In fact, I want 2 or 3 glasses of wine. I just need something to take this pressure off of me. Raise your hand because I am raising mine. I have 100% been there multiple times, especially in my past before GLP-1s. I got divorced when my kids were 11 and 13, just to give you a little history. Was not easy, let me tell you. It's a whole story for another day. Was incredibly anxiety producing. If anyone's ever been there, I'm sure you can relate to that. I was a single mom who had 99.9% of the care for my children, along with jumping back into the workforce, working a corporate job, attending to my kids, trying to be very present with them, also trying to take care of myself at the same time. I was dating, I was trying to do everything and be there for everyone. And it's hard. And I'm not saying that you should never have a dessert. I'm not saying that you can never enjoy a meal or eat something just because it tastes good. We're not like on one side or the other completely. Food is supposed to be enjoyable, but there's a difference between enjoying food and repeatedly relying on that food or that alcohol beverage to rescue you from the life that you're trying to escape from. There is a difference between having a dessert because you genuinely just want that dessert and feeling like dessert is the only thing that is going to make you feel good that day. And that actually makes me really sad because I know that there's so many people walking around right now who are exhausted, emotionally depleted, and desperately searching for some sort of tiny little piece of comfort wherever they can find it. I get it because I've done it. I've been there. I can relate to that. And you probably don't even realize that you're doing it. You're just looking to get through the day, get through that work day. Deal with your toxic boss. Deal with the unreasonable expectations that keep the goalposts moving on those expectations every time you meet a goal or a metric and all of a sudden, it just moved for you now, right? Get through that year-end performance review where you've hit it out of the ballpark and you just meet expectations and you're getting that little measly 2-4% increase. You sit through meetings all day long, responding to emails, being the person who is always on it, looking to make yourself that go-to person who has got all the information, who's quick to respond, and you're doing this all day long. Perhaps you're even mentally working when the day is done. Close your laptop, you're still thinking about work in your mind. It comes the weekend, work creeps back into your mind. You're thinking about tomorrow's problems and what you're supposed to be doing and the projects that you're working on and the things that need to get done and the timelines when you're having dinner with your family. And then you finally get a moment to breathe. You finally get that moment when your brain says, give me something that feels good. It's not weakness. It's not a character flaw. It is a pattern that we need to begin to realize is there in order to change it. Now, these statistics will hopefully give you a wake-up call. When I started looking into this, I frankly was stunned at the numbers. According to the World Health Organization, almost 60% of the global population is in work. That means that an enormous percentage of our lives is spent working. A good job can give us purpose, financial security, structure, a sense of accomplishment, meaningful relationships. But when that workplace becomes unhealthy, the cost is so much bigger than the paycheck. Gallup's 2026 State of the Global Workplace report found that only 20% of employees worldwide were even engaged at work. 64% were not engaged, and another 16% were actively disengaged. That means 80% of employees worldwide are either emotionally checked out or they are actively disengaged from their work. And I want you to think about that. How many people are getting up every single morning and just going through the motions, feeling trapped? How many people feel like there is absolutely no escape because they have bills and a mortgage and kids and responsibilities, health insurance, and other people that are depending on them, feeling like they're running out of time? How many people are spending their best energy at a job they resent and that is bringing them just a paycheck? It is leaving them exhausted, emotionally depleted. They are not enjoying their lives anymore. And now their health is going down, down, down. Their relationships, there's problems now with their relationships, because when you're emotionally not there for the people that mean the most to you, your relationships are going to start to fragment. Mental health becomes a real problem. Your quality of life becomes an issue. The World Health Organization reports that depression and anxiety cost the global economy approximately $1 trillion every year, predominantly through lost productivity. But we cannot only talk about productivity. We also need to talk about the people. We need to talk about the human cost and how this relates directly to you. This is going to relate back, and I'm going to tie it all in to weight loss, health, GLP-1s, all of it. What does a toxic workplace actually look like? Sometimes people think toxic workplace only applies to extreme situations, but and this you might be able to relate to, so leave a comment if it does. A toxic work environment can show up by looking like a boss who is constantly criticizing, never acknowledging your accomplishments. It may look like unrealistic workloads, chronic understaffing, right? Someone leaves, you pick up their workload while they're searching for somebody to fill that spot, and then they realize, hey, they don't need to fill that spot because you're doing it now. So now you're essentially doing the work of two people. It may look like emails that you just can't get to because there's just so many questions being pummeled at you. And now people are starting to get upset because you just can't get to them because now you're doing the work of two people. Unclear expectations, being blamed when you can't meet expectations that are set up to make you fail or that have never really been clearly communicated. There's favoritism. I mean, look, corporate workplace looks like high school. You got your jocks, your nerds, your musicians, you have the favorites, you have the people, the teacher favorites, right? You got those leadership people that no matter what those other people do, they will always be the favorites. They will get the promotions, they will get the increases, they will get all the good things that come along. And no matter how hard you work or what your effort is, you're just never gonna get there. It's bullying, it's favoritism, it's being micromanaged. It might look like a culture where everyone is afraid to speak up. They talk about having psychological safety, But then, of course, as soon as you start to talk up, you're the one now who is being watched. You are the one who has that voice, who's being authentic and genuine. Yeah, they're going to watch out for you, because authentic and genuine in the corporate workplace, they don't align together. It might look out, people might be burning out. I have known people that have worked so hard, they have worked themselves into a hospital in my environment, and they were in their 40s, and they were so burned out and so depleted, and they got so sick and that's been multiple people that have been in the hospital for exactly that reason. In fact, the World Health Organization specifically identifies excessive workloads, understaffing, long or inflexible hours, lack of control, poor organizational culture, limited support, authoritarian supervision, bullying, harassment, discrimination, and unclear job roles as risks to mental health at work. And if you're listening to this list and thinking, gee, that sounds exactly like my workplace, I want you to know you are not imagining it. You're not overly sensitive. You're not weak. Your environment matters so much. So, how does all of this impact your body? We need to stop separating mental health from the physical health. Mental health is health. Stress does not simply stay in your head. It shows up in your body. It shows up in your sleep or lack thereof, in how you present yourself, your energy levels, hunger, cravings. It can affect how patient you are with your children or your significant other. It can affect whether you have energy to prepare healthy meals and plan that out. It can affect if you're deciding to work out or not, or whatever training you're doing. It can make it so that you just don't even want to move around and you don't want to walk anywhere. It can affect whether you decide to go for a walk or crash on the couch, scroll through your phone for a couple of hours, because you're just so depleted. And this is where I also see people start to blame themselves. And they say, oh, I'm lazy, I'm not disciplined, I have no willpower, I can't stick to anything. I know what I need to do, I just can't do it. I can't get myself to do it. Well, maybe you're not lazy. And maybe you are actually disciplined and you don't lack willpower. Maybe it's because you're burned out. Maybe you're not failing. You just lack information. You're struggling because you are just mentally exhausted. When you spend an entire day in survival mode, it becomes so much harder to be thoughtful and make good, healthy decisions for yourself at night. You're just done. You're not thinking about long-term goals. You're just thinking like, how can I get through this moment? What's going to make me feel better right now? So this leads me to food. Why food can feel like such a good relief. Highly palatable foods can feel so comforting in that moment. The cookies, the ice cream, the pizza, the chips, the takeout, the foods that are salty, sweet, fatty, creamy, easy to eat, quick to get. You have a stressful day. You have something quick that makes you feel really good in that moment. And you feel the relief. You do. Your brain fires up and it starts to go, thank you. And it starts to feel that comfort. And then your brain starts to associate all these wonderful, yummy foods with comfort. And the next time you have a stressful day, your brain will remember that. Well, cookies made me feel better. Pizza was so satisfying. That takeout, yeah, it gave me a break. I didn't have to cook. Oof, that wine, it really de-stressed me and it like cut through my anxiety and I was able to like chill out. And then when the cycle repeats over and over again, it happens over and over and over and over again. It's hard to stop that cycle. This is why I do not believe that we should shame people for emotional eating. Having compassion does not mean we're ignoring the problem. We need to understand what is happening so that we can interrupt the pattern. GLP-1s help us to do that. The food that we give ourselves in that minute of comfort, the toxic job, the stress, the resentment that we have towards all these other things, the guilt that comes from eating foods that we didn't plan on eating, the frustration over not being able to lose the weight because we keep reaching for the foods that we don't really want to be eating. Now we're just physically uncomfortable. We're disappointed in ourselves. That's not peace. It's temporary relief, but it's coming with a price tag. So I'm not saying that the workplace is solely responsible for your weight. And I'm not saying that every single person who is struggling with their weight has a toxic job. And I'm not saying that food choices no longer matter, because all of that matters. Our daily habits matter the most. Nutrition matters, movement, strength training, sleep, stress management, personal accountability. But personal accountability does not mean pretending that our environment has no impact on us. You can take responsibility for your health while acknowledging that you are in a stressful environment, and then you can start to make healthier decisions. So they can both happen at the same time. They can both be true at the same time. This is also why obesity, being overweight, having metabolic dysfunction is not simply a matter of willpower. It is complex, it's biological, it's environmental, it's emotional, it's stress, it's social, it's insulin resistance, appetite dysregulation, food noise, sleep disruption, hormonal, genetics, years and years of going down this road. So the answer is absolutely do not shame yourself or anyone else. The answer is to understand yourself. And this is where the beauty of GLP-1s can come into play. This is where they can help you, and also where sometimes they can't help you. So a GLP-1 medication can be incredibly helpful in these situations. For me, one of the biggest changes was the reduction in food noise. Before starting a GLP-1, I struggled constantly with that mental chatter around food. I also had an insatiable appetite. I just couldn't turn it off. I had to mentally be like, okay, I think I'm done now, even though I still want more. I had a nightly dessert habit for decades. Even when I knew what I wanted to do, my brain kept pulling me back towards that food, towards the cookies, towards the dessert. But the medication gave me the space. It quieted the food noise enough for me to be able to make different decisions. It helped me to step out of the cycle that has been so hard for me to break. That willpower alone, and I know I have willpower and I know I have discipline, I just couldn't do it. I wanted something even more important. I wanted my health back. The GLP-1, it cannot fix your toxic boss. It's not gonna fix your workload or the fact that you're understaffed, or it's not going to create healthy boundaries for you. It's not gonna repair a relationship that's been neglected because you're working 24/7. And when I mean 24/7, you might close the laptop after your 8, 10, 12 hours of work, but mentally you're not there. You're still at work. You know I'm talking about you. And it's not going to give you meaningful work or meaningful life, I should say, outside of your work. But a GLP-1 can be an incredibly powerful tool. It can give us the freedom and the space to be able to be more intentional, but to be intentional about making these decisions and improving the quality of our life and reducing that mental stress it takes acknowledgement, it takes understanding, and it actually takes you being able to plan and execute a different life for yourself. Look, you're not going to change your life overnight. It's a slow integration of doing these things, but you're going to get there if you're intentional, if you're reflective, if you want to. You can create a new future for yourself. You may not be able to leave that toxic job today, but you can start to create better boundaries for yourself. And you can start to get healthier. That will absolutely have a reflection on your health. You can create a different reward system that is not associated with food. If food has become your main source of comfort after a difficult day, intentionally creating different ways to give yourself relief, peace, reduce the anxiety, create more joy, it's not going to be food. It is not a long-term answer. Food is not a good coping mechanism. I know we know that intellectually, but now we have to really be intentional about saying, okay, what's going to help me tonight if food isn't going to be the thing that I rely on? Maybe it's going for a walk outside, being in nature, walking your dog, doing some strength training, changing into comfortable clothes and sitting outside with a hot cup of tea. Maybe it's playing with your dog, listening to music, reading a book, listening to music, taking a hot shower, doing some movement, some light stretching, putting yourself to bed earlier, getting off your phone and stop all that scrolling. I'm guilty of that too. When I put the phone down and I stop all that scrolling, I definitely feel my anxiety going down. Maybe it's planning a balanced, healthy meal for yourself that's full of protein and vegetables and fiber. And then deciding, do I want that dessert or do I not want it? Not based on I need it to give me that dopamine hit. Again, you're not going to be perfect. It's just a journey to get there. So give your brain a different pathway to find that relief, to find that joy, and to find that peace. And I want you to ask yourself some tough questions. Is your job affecting your mental health? Are you carrying workplace stress back into your home? Are you eating because you are physically hungry, or are you eating because you need some sort of relief? Are you drinking alcohol because you enjoy it and you just want a little bit of alcohol here and there? Or are you feeling like you just can't shut your brain off without having alcohol? Are you too depleted to work out because you just really need the physical rest? Or has your life become so completely out of control and out of balance that you are just mentally drained and you just can't bring yourself to take a walk or go to the gym? Are you telling yourself that you are just trapped in this environment when the truth might be that you are just too scared to make a change? What is the one thing that you can do this week where you can take back a little bit more control? Leave it in the comments. We all want to know, what is that one thing you can do? I want to read it. I want to see it. You don't need to solve everything today, but you do need to stop ignoring your body and ignoring your mind, because they are telling you something. The anxiety, the stress, all of that will 100% affect your body. And when you start to acknowledge it and you start to do something about it, your body will also start to align and get healthier. So I want to leave you with this. You are allowed to want more out of life than simply surviving the work week and recovering on the weekend. You are allowed to protect your peace, prioritize your health, create healthy boundaries, look for better opportunities. You are allowed to build something of your own, and you are allowed to admit when you need more support. But You do not need to stay trapped in an unhealthy, toxic cycle. Just start by noticing the pattern. Start by giving yourself compassion, and then one small step at a time. You're going to start creating better boundaries. You're going to look for healthier sources of relief. And I want to hear, what are you going to do? What is the one thing where you can say, I can do this to give myself relief, and it's not going to be food? Has the workplace ever stressed you out to the point where you know your eating habits are affected, your sleep has been affected, your mental health has been affected by this? What is the one boundary or small change that you can put in place this week? And if you are interested in joining my private GLP-1 wellness community that I am creating and I'm going to launch soon, comment community below, or fill out the short interest form linked in the description box and also pinned to the top comment. There's no obligation. I'm just simply trying to gauge interest and learn about what you're looking for, because I want to create a community where we can all feel supported and you're getting the right tools to get you where you need to go and keep you there surrounded by like-minded people, because we need that support more now than ever. We need accountability. I need it, and I'm sure you need it as well. So please don't forget to like the video if this resonated with you. Subscribe as well if you are not already subscribed, and I will see you in the next video. Stay strong.